So Shlach from the 25th of Sivan, Mevorchem Chodesh Tammuz, Tafshin Lamedal. Shlach Anashim V'Yisuras Eretz K'naan, send for you men, and they shall investigate, look at and examine the land of Canaan. We need to understand what is the exact expression that he uses the word V'Yasuru. There are many other terms that he could have used, Meraglim, as they were also called. You could be Laragelos Aretz, Lirois Aretz. Why Dafki Yasuru? So he's going to give a few explanations in alternate meanings in the word Yasuru. What's also the connection between what it says V'Yasuru with what it says send for you, send on your behalf, the Koyal Moshe, that is referring to Moshe Rabbeinu, that Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu you should send for you. This means in addition to the fact already, even if it wouldn't have said the word Lacha, if Hashem just told Moshe Rabbeinu Shlach Anashim V'Yasuras Eretz K'naan, the very fact that he's addressing Moshe Rabbeinu and he's telling him send the people, so it's already emphasized. We know that the representative of a person is just like he himself. A shliach is just like the mishaleach. So already, if the pasuk says that Moshe Rabbeinu is sending someone to do something, that's already indicating that those people have a connection with Moshe Rabbeinu. But that's not enough. The pasuk the pasuk adds and emphasizes send for you, that its meaning is by your mind, according to your understanding. Like Rashi says in the beginning of the parsha, the indication of the matter is in the V'Yasuru Nasai Deza Shesholchu Anashim Sheshayachim Ukshurim LeMoshe Davke. This indicates that the Yasuru part, whatever Yasuru is, we still haven't yet identified this exact language. It is accomplished by specifically sending people that have an association and have a connection with Moshe. The fact that they are Shlach Lecha, the fact that they have a special connection with you, with Moshe Rabbeinu, that is what causes the V'Yasuru, how V'Yasuru is, as we're going to explain in the next paragraph. Second paragraph, line 10, the point of explanation of this is, like the Tzemach Tzedek explains in our Torah, in the V'Yasuru Yuvan, Alpi Mashamru Medrash, the V'Yasuru will be understood according to what it says in the Medrash. Al Masha Kosu B'Kehelas, it says a pasuk in Kehelas, V'Nasati Es Libi Lidroish V'Losur B'Chochma. I have focused my heart, I have placed my heart to search out and to investigate and to examine in wisdom. Wisdom usually is referring to Torah. Mahu Losur. So the Medrash asks, what does it mean, Losur? So he says, Le'osis Tayor B'Chochma. You should become an explorer, an investigator in the Chochma. And how do you know that's the meaning of Losur B'Chochma? So the Medrash goes ahead and brings a proof from our parsha. This is what it says in our parsha, V'Yasuru Eretz K'naan. They will look and search out and investigate the land of Canaan. So you see that the word Losur means to investigate, search out, look, and examine. Dvar Achar, another meaning in the Losur B'Chochma, the Medrash says, is Lidroish V'Losur, Losur U'Lehoisir, to search out, to investigate, and to Lahoisir is to, one could say, from adding and increasing. In other words, some explain it remains, but it means to increase. So the Rebbe says like this: the Medrash uses our parsha to explain the pasuk in Kehelas. Just like we could use our parsha to explain the pasuk in Kehelas, so we can now flip around and use the explanation in Kehelas for our parsha. the second explanation that's not derived from our parsha. The imkain, he says in line 15, if so, this idea of flipping around from something that is brought to teach, it is now illuminated from it, is Lashon Chazal says it came to teach, but now it is deriving the teaching, or it is becoming taught. Shagam being in Lasser says Kena'an, also concerning investigating the land of Kena'an, Yesh Lefarish, Gamkin Lashon Lahoisir. We could also explain the term Lahoisir to increase, as we'll soon explain. The Gam Inyan Tayor V'Toyar. It's also from the expression Tayor, looking, investigating, examining, and also from the word describing and description. Mevayer, and the Tzemach Tzedek explains, the idea of adding and increasing in Chachma Yesh Lefarish, Al Pi Mashakasa, we could explain according to what it says. There is an advantage, there is an addition, there is an increase of wisdom over foolishness. So based on that pasuk, we could apply the same thing in our parsha. In similar vein, one can explain in our parsha where it says they shall investigate, they shall examine the land of Canaan. It says in the pasuk that there is the advantage in the land, in everything, but there's the increase via Suru as Eretz Canaan is like it says v'Yisrain Eretz. There's the increase in the land. There's the growth in the land. What does that mean? The growth in the land. They live like Yisrain ba'aretz via Suru as Eretz Canaan, to be able to affect and to cause that there should be an increase in the land, which is the meaning of the pasuk now, according to the Tzemach Tzedek, via Suru as Eretz Canaan, meaning they will make the land of Canaan greater and increased. There has to be the idea of sending for you only if it's sent according to your mind, meaning that they are sending Moshe's men. It's connected to Moshe Rabbeinu. You could cause an increase via Suru from the word Yisrael, you can cause an increase in the land of Canaan. Next page, Ois Beis. Be an Indian explanation of this matter. What does it mean that we're causing an increase through this? The land in the level of Sfiris is going on Sfiris HaMalchus, just like the land is the lowest thing, and Shemayim is over it. The Shemayim va'aret, Shemayim is a Shemayim that goes on the Midas of Gvura and Chesed, and all the rest of those Midas, and Aretz is the level of Sfiris HaMalchus. So what does that mean in the idea of Yisrain Eretz, or Pirish Yisrain Eretz? What does it mean, the increase in the land, meaning an increase in Sfiris HaMalchus? Though the sphere of Malchus is the lowest of all the 10 spheres, it's the last of the 10 spheres. Until its legs descend, the rest of the pasuk is mavis, into death, meaning it descends lower than the spheres, outside of Atzilus, into the worlds of creation, of Biyah. And how does it descend? It has to go through different curtains and coverings and separations. So, seemingly, it's the lowest possible level in Alakus. Still in all, Yesh ba Yisrin ve'ilu l'gava kol ha'sfiras shalamayla mena. It has an advantage and quality over all the spheres that are prior to Malchus. Like the Alter Rebbe explains in his well-known Igeres HaKodesh, Dvar Malchus, that's titled, He and His life forces are one, that he and his bodies are one. So, see, it's a very famous Igeres HaKodesh, that's a very lengthy one. It's Siman Chav, very deep, speaks about the one of the deepest parts in Tanya. That about this Igeres HaKodesh, Epistle 20, that Tzemach Tzedek writes in Derech T'Sechom, it's from the very manuscript of the Alter Rebbe, that he wrote in his golden language, by Yom Shel Fnei Stalkusa V'Far Piena, a few days before he passed away in the village of Piena on the road when he was running away from Napoleon. This is distinct than the other Igeres HaKodesh, as we know from the introduction in Tanya from the children of the Alter Rebbe, that they wrote that many of the Igeres HaKodesh were like collected from copies amongst the students. But the Igeres HaKodesh Simon Chof, the Tzemach Tzedek wrote, that's from the very manuscript of the Alter Rebbe. So the Alter Rebbe explains over there in that Igeres HaKodesh, line 12, Shedafke Ba, specifically in Malchus, Misgala Koyach Oir Ein Sof Livra Yesh Ma'ayin, is revealed the power of the infinite light of Hashem to create something from nothing. And that spheres of Malchus is what's responsible for the creation of the worlds of Biyah. So it's the last level true in the spheres, but it creates the worlds of Bri Yitzir Asiyam. Belachein, the Seder Spheres Malmata Lamaila, therefore in the order of the spheres, from below to above, Nikra Spheres Malchus Keser. When you count the spheres from going from the bottom to up, the spheres of Malchus is called Keser Malchus, the crown of Malchus, because it's connected to Keser that's higher than Atzilus with the Oyer Ein Sof. Because it's a Keser, it's a crown, or even in comparison to all the other spheres. Sometimes we say Malchus is called a Keser because it's a crown in comparison to the spheres the way they are in Biyah. It's still considered a crown, even in comparison to the spheres and Atzilus, even though it's the last one, because it is still it connected with the Oyer Ein Sof, and because of that becomes a crown to all the spheres. We'll stop over here.